Okay, it's getting serious out there. If you're over 40 and you're starting a YouTube channel in 2026, there's no time to waste. It's getting crazy on YouTube. And there are 5 things that you need to get right from day one if you want to have any kind of success on this platform. And if you miss even one of these steps, you're going to waste months, maybe even years, trying to figure out what went wrong. So today I'm walking you through my 5P method. It's the exact system I use with coaching my clients, and it's what got my channel monetized in just over 3 months. And if you've already started, it's not too late to make some of these little tweaks and shifts. So if you're ready to have a channel that actually works in today's YouTube world, not just one that exists, let's go. Hey, I'm Dee Dee, and I help people over 40 start a YouTube channel to make money without all of the overwhelm, the tech stress, or the fancy gear. And today, we're going to be talking about the 5 things that every new YouTuber has to get right in 2026. So the 5 P's. The first P is position. And this is where a lot of people get stuck before they even get started. Position is about figuring out where you fit on YouTube. And you need to answer these 3 questions. First, who are you helping? The second one is what problem are you solving? And the third one, what makes you different? So let's talk about the first one. Who are you helping? Not everybody, not anyone who wants to learn. You need to be helping a specific person. Are you helping retired women who want to start a business? Maybe retirees planning their budget. Men over 50 learning to cook for the first time. But get really specific, because the more specific you are, the easier everything else gets. And number 2, what problem are you solving? What does that person need help with right now? What are they stuck on? What are they searching for at 10 o'clock at night when they're watching YouTube? Your channel should exist to solve that problem. Not 5 problems, but one core problem, just with different angles on that problem. And third, what makes you different? This isn't about being loud or being the funniest or having the prettiest house. It's about your unique angle. Maybe your teaching style or method, or maybe you're teaching budgeting, but you're doing it for people who hate budgeting, like me. Let me give you a really big example here. Let's say you're teaching home organization and decluttering, but you have ADHD. So your systems actually work for somebody in real life that struggles with this. And here's an example, because you know what it's like to go in your closet to get your black shoes, but you notice that your closet's a mess and you start cleaning it out. So you start pulling everything down and you find a sweater you forgot you had, and then you thought, oh, now I need to get rid of some of these clothes. So you start bagging it up to donate, and then you go to the laundry room and you realize you're out of laundry detergent. So you get in the car thinking you're going to go to the store and get some laundry detergent, and you lose your keys, so you try to find them in the junk drawer, and everything just jumps out of the junk drawer. So you start cleaning out your junk drawer, then you're still wearing the wrong shoes, and you forgot about your closet, and now you don't have any laundry detergent. That's what it's like to have ADHD. And if you have been through that and explored that and have a way to overcome that, then that's your unique angle. And I know that was a lot there, but I have experienced this myself, and I don't even have ADHD. But that's a position. And you've been there and you've done it, and you've figured out how not to do it again. Your position is your niche plus your unique angle. And when you nail your position, everything else is going to get easier, and the right people are going to start finding you. I mean, it does take a little bit of time for people to find you, so you got to be patient. And if you're sitting there thinking, okay, I kind of know what my niche is, but I'm not really sure, well, that's exactly what my one-on-one coaching sessions are for. We get crystal clear on your position, so you're not guessing anymore. And the link's in the description. The second P is your plan. You got to have a plan, and you don't have to have it all figured out from the beginning, but this is where you got to figure out exactly what you're going to post. A lot of people, they skip this step. They just start posting random videos hoping that something's going to stick to the wall like spaghetti. But in reality, if you don't have a plan, you're going to run out of ideas by video number 10. And then you're going to panic and either copy what everybody else is doing, or you're going to quit, or you're going to try to pivot to something else and start all over again. So here's what you need. First, you need content pillars. And this is 4 to 6 categories that all of your videos fit into. And I talk about it in this video here in more depth. So you can go watch that after you get through watching this one. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. But if you have a channel, let's say for people over 40 who want a career change, Your content pillars could be your skills translation, like how to reframe your experience. Maybe it's resume and LinkedIn strategies, or interview preparation, networking for career changes. This is about making sure you're covering all the things that these people are going through, and you just work your way around through all of those different content pillars. So every video that you make fits into one of your buckets, and when you sit down to plan your content, you just rotate through them. Second, you need to come up with 10 starter video ideas. And once you have your pillars, then you can brainstorm at least 10 video ideas that you could make right now. Don't filter them, don't judge it, just get them out there into the world. And these are your first videos, and they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be amazing. They just need to exist out there. And third is your posting schedule. How often are you going to post? Once a week? Twice a week? And here's my advice. Start out with once a week on the same day and the same time if you can. Consistency beats frequency every single time. One video every Saturday is better than 3 videos in 1 week and then you don't post again for another month, because that's not really consistency. And if you could do 2 a week, that's even better. Just make sure you can stick to that, because this is also going to determine your recording schedule. Make sure you have time for it. And your plan here keeps you from sitting down every week, wondering what you're going to make, wondering what you're going to record, and when to make it. It just gives you a system, and systems are what turns hobbies into businesses. Okay, now on to number 3. Our third P is post. And this is your execution phase. This is where a lot of people get stuck. They plan and they plan and plan, and they never actually hit record. So here's what you're going to need to do. Record imperfectly. Your first video is going to be rough. So is your second one, and maybe even your 10th one. Maybe even your 50th one. It just happens that way sometimes. And that's okay, because the only way to get better is actually by doing it. You're not going to figure out how to be yourself on camera just by sitting in a room and planning everything out. You're not going to nail your editing style by watching a tutorial. You got to actually do the work. You got to practice. You have to post, and it's the best practice that you could ever get. My first few videos, they were a little rough. I'd memorize a line, and then I would say it on the camera, and I'd memorize another line, and it was excruciating. I wouldn't have known, though, unless I actually did it. And then once I got into it and realized I didn't like doing it that way, then I could find a way that worked better for me. I just kept trying out different things. So number 2, you need to publish consistently. This goes back to what we were talking about in your plan. This is where your recording schedule from the plan phase comes in. Pick a day, stick to it, because YouTube rewards consistency, not just because the algorithm likes it, but because your audience actually starts getting used to it. They start expecting to see you show up at a certain time. They know when to come back. And number 3, learn from your early data. After you post your first 5 or 10 videos, because it does take some time for the analytics to catch up, but go look at your analytics and just take a peek. Which videos were getting the most views? Which ones kept people watching the longest? And which thumbnails got clicked? You're looking for patterns, and you really can't start seeing patterns till you're a few videos in. But whatever's working, do more of that. That one video, make it again, but with a different spin on it. And this post phase here is about building muscle memory. You can't think your way into being a good YouTuber. You have to post your way into it. So the 4th P here is push, and this is how you get traction once you're posting consistently. Because a lot of people think if they just keep posting, the views are going to come. But man, YouTube is crowded and it's changing every day. You have to help people find you. And you do that through your titles and your thumbnails. Your title and your thumbnail are the only thing that matters when somebody's deciding whether or not they're going to click on your video. Your title needs to be clear. What is the video about? And what problem does it solve? Don't be clever. Be clear. And your thumbnail needs to match your title, not repeat it. If your title says, how to organize your pantry, your thumbnail probably should show a pantry, not just your face. And here's the goal. Aim for a 4 to 8% click-through rate in the first 48 hours. If you're getting that, it's working. Your packaging is good. If you're not, test a new thumbnail, test a new title. Keep going with it. So let me give you an example. I had this amazing thumbnail idea for a video I was doing on hooks. I was so excited to make this thumbnail because I remember this picture that I had taken out on the lake. And here's that thumbnail. I was explaining that a hook in a video is just like hooks in fishing. And without the right hook, You may only catch a small fish, but in the early hours, it just wasn't getting the clicks, so I changed it. I hated it because I thought that thumbnail was so cute. But once I changed it, it started moving. So I guess nobody cared about my little fish that I caught. But I know that we all like to think we can come up with cute, catchy titles and cute, catchy thumbnails, but really, it's got to be clear. It can't be cute. Okay, so on to the next one. This is suggested videos, and this is how a lot of smaller channels grow, is from suggested videos. When somebody finishes watching a video that you have and it's similar to yours, you want YouTube to suggest it over on the side that your video is next. But only if your title and your thumbnail and your topic are similar enough to the one that you are currently watching. So look at channels in your niche that are a little bit bigger than you, not huge, but a little bit bigger, and what videos are they making? What's working for them? I don't want you to copy it. Copying is not the way to go in YouTube's algorithm right now. Don't, for heaven's sakes. You're responding to a demand though. But keep in mind that in the beginning, very specific how-to videos are important. You gotta provide value. Give something, some action that people can take today. And this can sound counterintuitive here, but hear me out. In the beginning, people don't care about what you think as much as they care about learning what you know. So give them that. Give them as much of that as you can. They'll start caring about what you think the further you get into your journey. My first video was about how to record professional videos on a cell phone. If I had started out with something like why I think you should start a YouTube channel, it probably wouldn't have got that many views because nobody cares what I think about starting a YouTube channel because they didn't know me. Excuse me. That was the first video I had posted. They don't care about my opinion. But how to record professional videos with a cell phone, that's a skill, and they need it right now. That's actionable. Give them something that they can take away and make firm action on it today. So teach them something you know first. So another good thing here is shorts and community posts. These are your discovery tools. A 30-second short can send people to your long-form videos. A community post can remind subscribers that you even exist out there. If you have the bandwidth to do both, okay, do it. But you don't have to. Just pick one and use it to stay visible between your uploads. And I'll admit, I don't do either one of these very well. I've got like 3 shorts on my channel and a couple of community posts. But I have been very strategic and time conscious. I post 2 long-form videos a week here, and I have a school community that I'm engaged in every day. Plus, I do one-on-one coaching calls. So time is of the essence for me. I really have to make sure I'm balancing out my time. So it doesn't leave me a lot of time to do shorts and post. But now that I've kind of gotten my content system down pat, I can start doing more of this. I can start concentrating on shorts a little bit. So I urge you to try that out and see if it works. But use your time wisely. Don't try to do everything at once. And speaking of that community, that's my school community, the Confident Creator Circle. If you want help with your channel, or if you just want to be part of a community where other YouTubers are just starting or growing their channel and they're all talking to each other and growing together, check out the link in the description. Join my community. It's free. So push is about being intentional. You're not just posting and hoping and praying on a wing and a prayer. You're actively getting your content in front of people. You're trying. So now, the 5th P, this is the good one. This is your profit. And this is how money eventually comes in. And a lot of people think they have to wait until they hit 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours in a year before you can make money. And as I talked about in this video here, that's simply not true. And here's how you start making money before monetization. And you got to think about it. You got to use all those other P's and plan this one as well. You can do affiliate links. And this is the fastest way to make your first dollar on YouTube. You link the products that you already use, your camera, your microphone, your books, your tools, the things that you recommend, the things that you love. And when somebody clicks on your link and buys, you earn a small commission. It's not huge money, but it is validation that people are starting to trust you. Then there's services and coaching. If you know how to do something and you know how to teach it to others, you can help them do it too. One-on-one calls, channel reviews, strategy sessions. I started offering coaching before I ever hit 500 subscribers. People were asking me for help, so I created a way for them to work with me. I set up a Calendly link and they booked a Zoom call. And that was it. I started making money. So next is digital products. It takes a little longer to build, but it's worth it. Maybe it's a book that you write, a course, a template. You could do travel guides, recipes, Once you create it, it can sell while you sleep, literally. And you don't need a huge audience for this. You just need the right audience. And it needs to be truly helpful though, not just something that you came up with ChatGPT. Don't do that. Make it something that you would actually want and that you would actually find helpful for yourself. So let me give you an example. I have a sweet lady in my community that has 51 subscribers at the time of filming this video. She did a video showing her budget tracker, and she earned her first 3 sales on that tracker from a walkthrough video she posted last week. That's amazing. I mean, she's actually seeing validation. That's an amazing accomplishment. And her channel is easy into earnings if you want to check it out. The profit phase is about building your income stack. Affiliate links, coaching, digital products, they all add up. $20 here, $100 there. And over time, it compounds. And the best part, you don't have to wait for YouTube to pay you. Now that is a strategy, YouTube AdSense. You can make money there, but you can start building your business from day one. And that's what I would plan on. And if you're sitting there thinking, okay, Dee Dee, this makes sense, but I need help figuring out positioning or building my plan. This is where I'm throwing in an extra P. That's the pain. When you can figure out your viewers' pain, you can put all of this into action. And if you're feeling the pain around creating YouTube videos, that's exactly what my school community is for, and that's exactly what my one-on-one coaching is for. Just check it out. The links are in the description. So there you have it, the 5P method, or 6 Ps really, for starting a YouTube channel in 2026. Position. Know who you're helping and what makes you different. Your plan. Build your content pillars and your posting schedule. Then you post. You record imperfectly and publish consistency. Then you push. Use titles, thumbnails, and strategy to get discovered. And then hopefully by then, you can profit. Start making money before monetization. You don't need all 5 of these to start, but you do need all 5 of these to succeed. Because I'm telling you, YouTube right now is changing fast, and you got to learn how to keep up with it. And if you don't get started, you're not going to be able to see all those changes that are happening. And if you want to learn how to make your videos faster and how to post quicker, just watch this video next, where I break down how I batch film all of my videos. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.